1981 was a good year. That was when my mom was born.
Have you ever looked at all the gear musicians use and wonder, how does it all work? My name's Dustin, and my family and I are setting out on a quest to inspire both adult and kid musicians to create new sounds together and learn all about what it takes to produce great music. We'd like to invite you along on the journey as we explore the gear professional studios, musicians, and hobbyists use to create their art. We'll take a close-up look at the gear and ask,
What's this button do?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's This Button Do? I'm your host, Dustin, and this week we are taking a look at one of the most hyped pedals of the last couple of years. I'm talking, of course, about the 1981 Inventions DRV Drive. Now, this is actually a collaboration pedal between Matthew Hoops of 1981 Inventions and John Ashley of Bondi Effects, who make the Sick As drive, one of my favorite drives of all time. So I have heard so many people tell me, Dustin, you got to try this. Dustin, you got to try this. This is loosely based on an old white box Rat that Matthew Hoops played a lot. But it's a lot more nuanced, a lot more upgraded, and a little bit more modern version of the Rat. I honestly was never a huge Rat fan. The Proco Rat was one of the first drive pedals I ever had. It's a good distortion pedal. It's very basic. It has a very specific drive sound to my ears. And it was one I used a ton in the late 80s and early 90s on a lot of rock. I absolutely loved it. And then just as I evolved as a player and as I started to get more into effects, I just wasn't using the Rat sound very often. So when the DRV came out, I honestly gave it a pass. I just didn't buy into it. I had a couple of Rats. The Jam Peddler's Rattler was one of my favorites. So when I needed that sound, I had a couple pedals that could do that sound. And I thought, well, yeah, I don't need this. But then the more I looked at people's boards as I was going to shows and stuff, you'd almost always see that pedal on their board. And I would check out settings, and it was hilarious. Sometimes I'd take pictures of boards, and I would see different settings on every single person board. It wasn't like a lot of the pedals out there where you would see people using very similar pedals, like with a Klon. You see pretty much a drive section or a transparent overdrive kind of view setup. Those are the basic two setups that you almost always see on people's boards. DRV, I saw knobs turned every which direction and never the same, never two people playing it the same way. So I thought, okay, maybe there is a little bit more to this. So reached out to my friends at Palen because they're carrying them now. And I just said, hey, can I borrow one of these to try out? I just want to see what it sounds like. So they sent it over here to the shop. So I thought, hey, let's plug it in real quick, try it with a couple guitars, and just see how it sounds. And I'm going to let you hear what I think about it, and show you some of the discoveries I've made just in this day that I've had to play with it a little bit. So come join me over at the pedal board and let's take a listen. Okay, I think the best way to go about this is to take a quick look at the 1981 pedal. There's a ton of demos out there that go deep diving into this. This is a 3-knob pedal. I don't think we need to get that deep with it. I think we're just going to listen to the sounds, and I'm going to walk you through how it works. So you have 3 knobs. You've got your drive knob is the very first knob, which is your amount of gain. You've got your cut knob, which is an EQ filter, and you're going to see it has a ton of sweep in here. And then you've got your volume knob. Now, your volume knob is just literally your level. So, like, I'll play you just clean tone. We're going to be using my Syph OH10 here with the bridge pickup. So very telly-esque-ish sound. And then when we add in a little drive, so very 80s rock. Just right off the second I plug that in, you can pick up on 80s rock there. Very, very cool. Love that sound. Now, again, not the most complicated sound. I'm going to crank the volume a little bit, show you how much gain you can just get from your volume pushing the amps. Okay, lots of gain on tap there. I like the volume kind of sitting right in that area. That sounds really good. let's see what happens when we crank the gain all the way, okay? So right here. Now, this is very reminiscent of the old Proco Rat and why I kind of fell out of love with it. When you've got the gain cranked and you've got your volume cranked, you're definitely muddying out kind of the waters and losing some of the clear details in the notes. Versus back the gain off. See how much crisper those notes sound when you back the gain off? The more you push that gain, the less detail you get in your notes, and that used to drive me nuts. But here's the little secret sauce. So let's do that same thing. We're gonna crank it back up to that kind of unbearable level. Right? Now we're gonna crank our cut all the way down. Let's bring this all the way back up to the... And it can get really murky if we take it all the way up. You're hearing it's filtering out some of those harsh notes, but... very muddy, very, very muddy, very quiet, very distorted. So I love the idea of bringing it back to right about there, bringing our volume down just a little bit, and just letting this frequency cut. You don't have to go that high on it, but letting that frequency cut kind of live in that area here, I think really gives you some good potential. Sorry, I had to mute that out. So from a high gain aspect, I think if I was using this as a distortion pedal, there's something really beautiful there. But I typically use the Kingtone Duelist, which you guys have seen me talk about on the show before, into the Kingsley Juggler for most of my drive sections. And so I had kind of replaced the Rat with those two pedals and some others that are in my chain. But I want you to hear, I'm going to turn this off for a second. I am going to turn on my Duelists and my Kingsley Juggler here and let you hear how that sounds. So this is them on, right? Okay, now I'm going to turn on the 1981. That kind of blows my mind. If we take that gain down just a little, let's come down to about right there. I think we're going to be right in the same territory here. Okay, I'm going to turn on, let's do the 1981 first. Okay, now let's do my Kingtone into the Duel. Maybe a little more gain from the 81. Let's go back to the 81. Back to the Kingtone into the... That surprised the crud out of me, because I think the Kingtone and the Kingsley Juggler are two of the greatest pedals ever made. And the fact that the tone that I have dialed in on my pedal board is that tone on the lower gain settings of the 1981 blew my mind. I was not mentally prepared for that. I think this is an amazing lower to mid gain drive, not just a distortion. But then the idea that all I have to do if I'm playing a song and I'm, you know, I play a rock song. And then the next song is a heavy distortion song. The fact that I can crank it. I mean, that versatility, if I just needed one drive to have on my board for a quick trip, I understand now why so many people are using this on their board, because the versatility to drive into that almost metal territory and then dial it back for some classic rock tones, that's pretty cool. But now let's go one step further. Let's take this back. We're going to bring the cut up just a little bit. Let's take this drive all the way back and pretty darn low here and see how that sounds, okay? Note separation and the clarity there. Let's take it down a little bit more even, and let's take down the cut. Now, let's roll the volume back on my guitar and see how that handles. This is a cleanup. Bring it up to the on the neck pickup there. It's just beautiful. Like, it's just a real subtle drive. Man, I almost wish I could get this pedal. If I could have a expression controlled drive section on this, man, you could do some just amazing swells and cool like lead-ins. Just wow. Yeah, I'm thinking of a lot of fun here. I want to try one more little experiment. I'm going to get the Les Paul out, and I am going to actually take my Duelist and my Silk Tone Fuzz, which is one of my best fuzz sounds that I absolutely love. I'm going to set those up the way that I usually play them, and then I'm going to see if I can get that same sound out of the 1981 DRV. Give me 1 second here. I'll be right back, and we're going to try this. All right, I'm back with the Les Paul. We're going to go on the bridge pickup. I am going to be using the King Tone Duelist and the Silk Tone Fuzz. I'll put my settings up here on the top so you guys can take a look at those, just so you can kind of hear them. This is what I use in a lot of rock stuff when I'm doing it, especially in more metal settings. Sounds cool. Great sound. I love that. I've used it for a ton of leads. It is one of my favorite sounds. Let's see if we can dial that in with the 81. So let me go on to my 81 here. Definitely need more volume. And we're going to need that cut up a little bit. Let's try that. Back to my original. $1981. Original. pretty darn close. Oh man. Okay, one last idea here. We're going to take the king tone and we're going to run it into the 1981 without the silk tone fuzz. Let's see what those two stacked together are going to be like, because I think it'll be insane. So I'm going to turn the volume down just a little and the gain down just a little bit before we start that. So let's see. Here's the king tone. Bring in the 81. Without the king tone in it. Now we'll bring it all the way back down. Woo! All right, so there's a little quick sound sample of the DRV. I am honestly shocked. The variety of gain and the level of the gain. Again, it's a very specific sound. This is not the like you can play every level of rock music there ever is, from classic 60s and 70s rock to Tool and then heavy metal beyond that. No, this is not the pedal for that. But from a gain staging standpoint and from a one pedal mini gain sounds with very much one knob. Like I said, to me, I would live with the cut in the lower third, from about 7 o'clock to 9 or 10 o'clock, so that you're still letting those trebles come through and kind of wash out or keep a little of the bass tighter. And then I would let your volume just sit in that 3 to 5 o'clock range, because you want to get a little of that volume boost, and then just play with the drive knob. Like that drive knob, I think is magical, the amount of gain on tap there. And then if you push it a little bit with another pedal going in front of it, just boosting it a bit, with either a Kingsley like I did, or a boost side of the juggler, or any preamp really, I think you're going to get some amazing tones out of this. And like I said, for a one board, a small travel board where you don't have a ton of room for a lot of pedals, you can get a lot of mileage out of all the sounds in that DRV. I am very, very impressed. The team at 1981 and at Bondi Effects just did a really, really good job. I am super impressed. It lives up to the hype. Now, am I going to go jumping off and taking the king tone and the juggler off my board? No, because those sounds that I showed you were my favorite tones from those two pedals. But quite frankly, there's a bazillion other tones inside the juggler as well we haven't even gotten into. So I do still love that. But the fact that the juggler is a pedal this big and the king tone is about even bigger than the 1981, the fact that if I was just needing the sounds that I could get out of the DRV, I definitely wouldn't want to lug around my juggler that has a 12-Act-7 tube in it. I wouldn't want to lug around my king tone. If I could get all those tones just out of the DRV, it'd be great. Now, I'm not going to ditch those off my board, but I do think for traveling around, I am going to pick up an 81, because I'm so impressed with how that sounds. And a lot of the core sounds that I use every day on my board are in that pedal. I am just absolutely shocked. So well done, everyone. I will say I do think the 81 lives up to the hype. I don't think it's for everybody, though. I don't think I can clearly say to every single guitar player out there, go buy this pedal. I still think there is a very specific sound to that distortion, and if you're looking for very low gain without a lot of coloration, you're not going to get it. Even at the lowest drive settings on here, it is coloring your sound. It is distorting. It's a very much a distortion pedal. So don't let people fool you into thinking, oh, you can use this as a clean boost and it's going to sound like a Klon or something like that. That's not what you're getting here. That's definitely not what this pedal is. And Matt, to be fair, has never made any kind of advertisement saying that that's what the 1981 was. But I have heard people say that they used it as a transparent overdrive, and there's nothing transparent about that overdrive. I don't buy that at all. So definitely not for that kind of use. And for lower gain tones, I think there's better options out there. But if you're looking for a versatile distortion pedal that will get you a ton of sounds and a ton of room, I will speak very, very highly of this. I'm very, very impressed with the tones that I'm getting out of here. And I think there is a lot of gain on tap. I'm looking forward to trying this on baritone. I want to try some drop tunings with it, like drop D, and see how that sounds. I think that'll be really engaging. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But like I said, I really do think this is a win. I'm going to buy one. I really do think it will be versatile enough that I can get more tones out of this. And this sounds way better than the other Rats that I've played. I think the only other one that I'm even considering, and I should do a little shootout between them, is the Jam Pedals Rattler. I love that tone as well, but that one's a very simple fuzz unit or distortion unit, and it does sound a little different than this to my ear. So I think those two would play nicely together and will make kind of an equal companion for each other on some of my drive boards. So very, very impressed. Yeah, I give this 2 thumbs up. Anybody looking for a good distortion, absolutely, this is the way to go. So yeah, thank you guys very much. I really appreciate you coming out and supporting the show today. I'll drop a little link to Matt's site onto here so you can go check that out. And I know Palen has these in stock because I borrowed this one from them to shoot this video. So make sure you check them out. I'll throw a little link to them on here as well. In fact, I might even try to make the link down below too, so you guys can just go right there and see the listings for it. So yeah, if you have questions, comments, please, if you have experienced the DRV, if you've used it, I would love to know your settings down below in the comments. Throw out your favorite settings so I can play with them and we can share them with everybody else. Let everybody else mess around with some settings and see what they think. If you've found ways to make it more transparent, if you've got some really cool pedals that play nice with it, comment down below. You know how I love pedal comments or combos, so I'd love to know what you're using the DRV to push, or what you're using to push the DRV into new gain realms. So please comment down below with your favorite pairings to go with the DRV, and we'll share those with the group. Well, next week we'll be taking a look at some more fun pedals, so please come back and join us. We can't wait to see you then. As always, thank you so much for coming out and spending your day with us. We really, really appreciate it, and hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Have a good one.